Now in part 3, we talked about 3 kinds of cell referencing. One was relative referencing, the second absolute referencing, and the third mixed referencing. Now there is something known as circular cell reference. Now what is this? Now this happens when you're typing a formula in a cell and you're using the address of that very cell in that formula. So it's referring to itself in the formula. So that's known as circular cell reference. So when this happens, Excel will show you a warning and that address will get a 0 value. Also, you will get a message saying that circular reference was found in the worksheet, and the status bar at the bottom will show you the address of that cell. So let's make a circular reference on this sheet here. So for that, I'll just type in a formula is equal to, let's say this value here, plus, now I'm going to refer to the same cell address where I'm typing the formula. That's F13. So I'll just type in F13 and hit enter. So there you get the warning for circular reference. I'll just click on OK and it opens the Excel help page and the 0 value gets returned to that address where I was typing in the formula. Okay, and the status bar shows you the address of that cell where circular reference was found. So circular reference found in F13. Now we move on to the if function. Now this is a conditional function, meaning it checks for a condition, and if that condition evaluates to true, it does something, and if that condition is false, then it does something else. So the if function is used with relational and logical expressions. So this is how it is used with relational expressions. As you know, relational expressions compare two values using the different comparison operators. So that's an example. If marks less than 40, fail, comma, pass. So the first one is the condition, that is marks less than 40, which is the relational expression. So the if function will check the marks with 40, and if it is less, it will print fail. If it is equal to or greater than 40, it will print pass. In the second example, if age less than 18, minor, comma, adult, the if function will check the age with the value 18. And if it is less than 18, it will print the first value, that is minor. And if it is greater than or equal to 18, then it will print the next value, that is adult. So we are back on this sheet now. So we are going to use the if function to calculate the result. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the percentage of each student with the value 40, and if it is less than 40, I'm going to print the result as failed, and if it is more than or equal to 40, then I'm going to print the result as passed. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go to this column here, which is free. I'm just going to type result over there. Now I'm going to put the if function is equal to if, open the bracket or parenthesis, there. Now you have to write the condition. Now what is the condition? I'm going to check the percentage with the value 40. So where is the percentage for this first student? It's here in this cell. So I'm going to use that address, and then I'm going to check whether that is less than 40. Okay. So now if it is less than 40, what do I want the function to print? I want to print the result as fail. So that you'll have to enter inside quotation marks because that's a string. And if that condition is false, that means that the percentage is greater than or equal to 40, then I want the function to return the value pass. That should also be inside quotation marks, as that is also a string. And then close the parenthesis and I hit enter. So here it's checking the value 83.5 and comparing that with 40 and checking if 83.5 is less than 40. Obviously it's not, so it's going to print the value if false, that is pass. Now let us copy this formula to the next cell. So again, due to relative cell referencing, you can see that the address K6 changed to K7 when I copied the formula to the cell below it. So now if you check The percentage is 38.4, so it is definitely less than 40. So now it is going to print the first value, that is the value if true, that is fail. Now let's just copy and paste this formula in the remaining cells. So as you can see here, it's 80.5, so the result is pass. Here 79, here 279, so the result is pass. And here in the last one, the percentage is 34.2, so the result is fail. Now I can change this formula to achieve the same result by using another condition. Okay, so let's say instead of checking whether the percentage is less than 40, let's check whether the percentage is greater than or equal to 40. So now it's the same address, but instead of checking if it is less than 40, I'm checking whether it is greater than or equal to 40. So if it is greater than or equal to 40, that means when the condition is true, what should be the result? The result should be pass. And if it is not greater than or equal to 40, that means it's less than 40, the result should be fail. So depending on your condition, the value if true and the value if false has changed now. But the result is exactly the same. See. So I'm just going to copy this formula now and I'm going to paste it in all the other cells, but the result remains same. But your formula, what you've written inside the formula, has changed or has become the opposite. So this is how you use the if function. So now let's use another sheet to see what other functions are available in Excel. Okay, so let's go to this. Okay, that's not the one I want. So that's what happens when you have a number of sheets that you're working on. It's better to actually rename them according to what data they contain. So let's see how that is done. You might have already learned this in class 7. So this is the sheet tab and it shows you the sheets that you have in the workbook. So you can choose to make a new sheet from here using this button. You can just left click on it and this will insert a new worksheet like that. Okay, so this is the one with the results where we calculated the results. So let's just rename that. So to rename it, I'm just going to right click on sheet 1, left click on rename. I can just enter a name like results so that the next time when I look at the sheet tab, I know exactly where the results sheet is instead of having to click on each sheet and looking at its contents. So just hit enter now. Okay, apart from changing the name, I can also give this sheet a tab color. So to do that, again right click, which brings up the options. Just move your mouse to tab color and it will open the options for you to choose the color. So you can choose any color that you like. So let's give it this color here. So as you can see now, the tab has been given a green color. Let's go to the next sheet. That's the sheet 2, which we use to see the different kinds of cell referencing. Okay, so let's just rename that as well. Right click on sheet 2, left click on rename. So I'm just going to write, okay, let's just call it commission, COMMISSION. Okay, and give it a tab color as well. So right click, move your mouse to tab color, which brings up the options, the color palette, and then just choose a color. I'll choose the blue one. Okay, so now you see that the commission tab also has a color. Now there are some sheets here on the sheet tab which are actually empty, so those are just increasing the file size of this workbook. So let's go ahead and delete them. So this is how we can delete the worksheet. Okay, so you see that this sheet 10 is empty, so we don't have any use of it. So right click on sheet 10, left click on delete. So that's done, that's deleted. Now sheet 11 is also empty and we're not using it. So right click on sheet 11 and left click on delete. So now let's go back to the commission worksheet. Do you notice that the addresses that we've been using here They all refer to cells in the same worksheet. Here too, G2 and D4. There are cells here in this current worksheet. Okay, if you go to the results tab, here you can see that in this formula E6 and E12, the cells that are there in this range, they are all on this worksheet, that is results. But that does not mean that you can only use cell addresses belonging to the same worksheet in a formula. So in Excel, there is a provision to use data that is there on other worksheets in the same workbook, or even in worksheets in a different workbook in a different Excel file. Okay, so to demonstrate that, I'll be using these sheets here. So let's say this is the cost of running a restaurant for the first quarter. That's from January to March. Okay, so now I have the cost for January in this sheet, the cost for February in this, and the cost for March in this sheet. So here I'm just going to total it and put the values here. Now instead of going to each sheet and entering the values manually here, what I can do is I can use the data or in these sheets automatically by referring to them here in my formula here. So to do that, I'll have to use the sheet name with an exclamation mark, and then I'll have to use the cell address of the particular value that I want to use. So I'm just demonstrating that right now. So here I want to total the values in the staff salary category in the different months. So I'll just use equal to, and then I'm going to use the sheet name. So January is here. Okay, so I can just go and select this. Okay, so as you can see, it has automatically entered the sheet name as sheet 4, and then there is an exclamation mark, and then the particular cell that I'm referring to in this sheet, that is C4. Okay, and then I can just use the plus operator, go to the other sheet, that is 5 for February. Again, as you can see, sheet 5, that is the name of the sheet, and the exclamation mark is automatically entered as soon as you click on sheet 5. Then you click on the cell address that you want, that's C4. Again plus, and then you move on to sheet 6 for the month of March. So again, as soon as I clicked sheet 6, the name of the sheet and the exclamation mark was automatically entered, and now I just have to click on the appropriate cell. So that's C4 again, and then just hit enter. And now as you can see, my formula has calculated the staff salary spent in the first quarter, that is in those 3 months. Now if I just copy this formula and I paste it below it, is it calculating the total electricity bill for 3 months? Let's just check that. It's saying sheet 4 C5, sheet 5 C5, sheet 6 C5. So that means that, again, due to relative referencing, even though the cells that I'm referring to are on different sheets, the cell addresses have changed as I copied that formula to the next cell below it. It was C4 here. Now when I copy that formula here, even though the sheet numbers remain same, what has happened? The address that I'm referring to has changed to C5. Now if I copy this here, it will change to C6, and it will automatically calculate the rent for 3 months. So that means I can just copy this formula, and this will give me the total expenditure in the first quarter for all the different categories. Okay, and now if I just want to calculate the total investment that I've made in the first quarter, I can just select all these cells or a range and go to formulas and just click on the auto sum option, and this gives me the total amount. So this is how you can use cell reference from another worksheet.